Come back. A minister in the presidency, Jeff Radebe, says government is unsatisfied with the rate of transformation in the business sector. He says company ownership is still reflective of the apartheid era. He was delivering the keynote address at a Black Management Forum event in Gallagher Estate in Midrand. Well, ahead of that, findings from the 2015 Jack Hammer Executive Report show that there has been a decline in the number of black South African CEOs in the past 3 years. Debbie Goodman-Bhyat is the CEO of the executive recruitment company. She joins us now from our Cape Town studios. Debbie, good afternoon. I think it's very important here to actually look at your methodology, because reliable data is important to unmask any misconception. Tell us about what you looked at and how you looked at it.
Okay, thank you for asking that, because absolutely I agree the integrity of the data is really important. So first of all, we did the first review in 2012 where we really just looked at the CEOs in the top 40 listed corporations and the demographics of that and who those individuals were occupying that office. And we came up at the time with a very small number of black South African CEOs. And we decided, okay, well, that's a line in the sand. Let's give it some time and let's see how things are progressing. So we reviewed the entire scenario in 2015. We commissioned an independent research company called Merchant Tech to take another look at the top 40 listed corporations and assess what's the makeup of the top 40 CEOs, as well as the executive teams reporting into those CEOs. So we delved a little deeper and did a bit more of a dive into that. Now, when we talk about a decline, remember, we're coming off a really low base to start off with. So the percentages look dramatic from 15% to 10%, but what it really means is that we had 3 or 4 individuals in 2012, and in 2015 we've still got the same 2 or 3 or 4 individuals, and when one person retires or when another person resigns, it makes a significant difference. So the data has a high level of integrity. The numbers just don't look very good. And I think really what it's all spelling out is that rather than focusing on a decline of 1 or 2, what we're really saying is that there hasn't been a lot of momentum in terms of an increase. Let
me come in there. So in essence, I mean, this report actually explains that although the executive teams of SA's top 40 companies are gradually becoming better representative, very few will actually become CEOs. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes, you've really unpacked that accurately. So by looking at the executive teams, as well as unpacking what is the route to the top, how does one make it into the top role, we've been able to take a view of what is the likelihood of the situation actually changing over the next 4 or 5 years, even beyond that. Because if we really look at how does one progress into that senior role, one needs to ideally come from running a core operational area of an organization. One comes from being the managing director of a division or a subsidiary. It's highly unlikely, particularly in South Africa, that one will come from a corporate services or support role, HR, marketing, legal, corporate affairs, into that top position. That may happen globally, but it really doesn't happen very frequently in South Africa. And then if we take a look at who of the black executives, there are 21% of those executive teams who are in fact black South Africans, and that is good. But who is occupying core operational roles with the likelihood and potential to make it all the way to the top, that's looking pretty lean. So we really are seeing only about 36 or so people who could make it there.
And yet there are some companies that actually get it right. You mentioned the likes of Vodacom and MTN.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that they're a really great standout example of organizations who, I suppose because they're essentially newer, and I guess also because they have been so heavily regulated by industry and by regulation, that they didn't have legacy issues to deal with. And so they were really very progressive and very proactive in appointing black executives into core operational roles almost from the start. And so what we really do see there is they've got highly successful businesses and very representative of the demographic of South Africa.
All right, Debbie Goodman-Bhyat from Jack Hammer, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.